let
The,
me,
the question
there's
is
a lot there.
your response to the argument that artists can't do without galleries now.
My response, so why need me is kind of the question. Um, yeah, so it's all about the connections that the gallery has with their clients. So there is galleries are essential, I think, still for artists in a lot of ways. You can make a living on your own. You can do things by yourself. That's absolutely possible. You can start your own gallery. You can have your own revenue streams. You can do all of that. But if you want to be creating at home, if you want to be spending a lot of your time just working and you want someone else to be doing the sales for you, then you're still going to want somebody doing that, whether it's a artist, a consultant, or a gallery or some kind of space, or even your online platform selling for you. Because you can't be an expert at everything. It's the same for me.
I
I,
know.
Welcome to In the Art Scene, a podcast about art world and people in it. I'm your host, Galina Marcus.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to In the Art Scene podcast. Well, today we are talking to a gallery owner. I think it's the first. Well, we had people with some gallery experiences, but this is one of the most effective, most successful galleries here in San Diego. So I am really happy to invite Sonia Sparks to the conversation. Sonia is the owner of Sparks Gallery, and I'll just give it on to you, and we'll get going. Good
yeah, thanks.
morning.
Thanks. Good morning, Galina. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so my name is Sonia Sparks, and I'm the owner and chief curator of Sparks Gallery. We're located in the Gaslamp Quarter of downtown San Diego. And we've been in business for 11 years, and we are supporting primarily Southern California artists, mostly in the San Diego region, and collectors and art appreciators as well. So we are really glad to be still in San Diego. It's a great place to have our hub, our nexus for our artistic conversations, and also to support, of course, the local art scene and all the artists that we have in Southern California.
So I have so many questions for you for like right from the get-go because Gaslamp Quarter. It's one of the most like touristy, the most expensive places. So having a real estate there and stay like you've been there for 11 years. That's like since the day one. Oh my
Yes.
God. So how did you do this? That's my first question.
Well, it's a family-owned property, so that's how we're able to push through the pandemic because we're able to, as a family, weather that storm. And of course, it wasn't easy during that time. And as the part of our business model, we also have events at the gallery. So we rent the actual space of the physical gallery for events. And we also hold our own events. Every year we have an art party, a big art party where we invite a lot of our clients and event clients, and we all come together and we celebrate everything that's art and having a great time and having a party. So the gas lamp, since we've been there for a long time, it's obviously, you know, things have changed with how valuation is down there. When we got the property, it really was a big fixer-upper. There was nothing in the space, and we spent 2 years renovating the space and creating it specifically for an art gallery. It was a low capacity, just kind of a big rectangular space, and we restored meticulously every aspect of that building. So the bricks were re-mortared, and the we built everything. The restrooms are all a tribute to the 1920s design, and the color schemes are true 1920s historic period colors. And of course, we had seismic that we had to install for earthquake safety to allow us to have our higher rating. So we can accommodate about 350 people in the space, which is a big deal. And it's a 4,500 square foot place. For those of you who are not familiar with it, who haven't seen it, it's very urban, black steel structure, steel beams, kind of overlapping red brick, exposed red brick, and of course the art and some of the walls are white. So we have a combination of art hanging on brick and then a combination of art on the white walls.
Yeah, it gives a little bit of that, like a New York loft vibe. So
Mhm.
it is a historical building, is that right?
It is a historical building. It was designated in the 80s when they were creating the Gaslamp Quarter. They wanted to stop all of the tear downs of the historic buildings at that time, so they created the Gaslamp Quarter. And that specific building had a hardware store in it for a really long time, so they designated it as the Sterling Hardware Building. It's not the San Diego Hardware building, it's the Sterling Hardware, which was a smaller hardware store, a little bit more uh, everyday kind of hardware supplies place. And we do still have the original flooring for a lot of the that time when it was that. And there's a lot of history that's part of that building, but it was vacant for some time while the other buildings were built around it. So what happened eventually was when they decided to build our building, they just put a roof on top of our space and drilled it into the adjacent buildings next door on both sides. So we don't technically have our own walls of the building. It's just really a roof. And then we co-own halfway through the neighbors' walls, which is kind of a fun.
So you're kind of like a space in between.
It's almost a space in between,
Ah,
and it's a two-story building, so it's not very tall for the area. So it was very functional. Just we're here as a hardware store. It's all we got. But it's lasted, through about 100 years. I think at this point we're at 100. Uh, Last year was 100 years for that building. So it's really built to last, even though things come and go.
that's fascinating. That's absolutely interesting. I had no idea about that history. Like whenever I go to a Gaslamp district, it's like, a bar, a pub, a bar, a pub, a restaurant, and and occasional,
Yeah, we're
entertainment.
actually really
Okay.
close to the oldest bar in downtown, the Tivoli,
Uh-huh.
and supposedly Wyatt Earp frequented there back in the day when it was really just dirt roads and cowboys, and it was a marshy land, and people were just building everything down there.
Are you the only gallery in the district?
We are not. There's a handful of other galleries down there, but they are all kind of specializing in different things. So yeah, I welcome people to come down and check it out, but I think there's a little bit more concentration of galleries in the Little Italy area, which is also
Hmm.
close to us. But there's a program called the Fred, which is a free ride everywhere downtown, which you can actually hop on, and it's kind of a partway open little car that drives you all the way up to Little Italy and back down to the gas lamp. So
Yeah, yeah, it reminds me a little bit of tuk-tuk on in Thailand. It's kind of
yeah,
like a like local rickshaw.
so it is possible to kind of do a gallery crawl down there, but
Uh-huh.
you have to probably drive for part of it. It's a little spread out.
So, I have a local specific question. So, whenever I have guests from San Diego on the podcast, we always have this conversation about San Diego art market being challenging. You have been around for 11 years. You have succeeded. You have a beautiful space. You constantly rotating the art exhibits. You are representing local artists. You have done this through pandemic. What is the secret? Is Gaslamp a secret location because it's touristy, or is there something else? And I know
Uh,
that there are
yeah.
many things that you can go deeper in, and we have all the time in the world.
There are many things. Each gallery that's successful has its own understanding of who its clients are, who the collectors are, and the appreciators for their art that are always buying the art. So for me, when I am looking at new art, when artists come and say, I'd like to be in your gallery, or we have artists already in our gallery who they're making new art, and they say, what do you think about this? I'm really just taking on the mindset of the clients at that point and seeing will my clients want this particular type of art? And that's really how the whole curation of Sparks Gallery has been shaped over the years, is through the clients. So if I had my way, I would have my own, specific set of art that I would like personally, but it's not about me, it's about the client. So um, the clients are really looking for what we have lined up on our website, and you can see that there. And then every gallery, I think, needs more than one revenue stream. So when I come at it from a business standpoint, I have a background in business administration and international business. And a lot of galleries that do not succeed, I think, do not have that in mind either. They don't know who their client is, and then they don't know what other revenue streams they can have, because when you have 50%, 30%, 60% goes to the artist for the sale of the artwork, that's really like you're looking at half of your revenue is going elsewhere. So you have to have other things in mind, such as renting your physical space, which is what we do. A lot of galleries will have studios built into them, and that's a way for them to be very close to the artists, see what they're doing, be able to uh, present the work to guests who come into the space, and then also they have a recurring revenue stream from those artists. So it's really a great symbiotic relationship. We don't have space to accommodate artists like that, but that would be really, I think, a fun thing to do, is to have studio space within a gallery. And then there's other ideas, there's um, ways that people can sell work on the secondary market. So if there's really valuable pieces that are coming in from collections that kind of fit their theme, that are pre-owned, then that's a good way to have that, also come in as another revenue stream. But yeah, I think that's really kind of the challenge, is to dial in your other ways that you can sustain yourself as a business, because a gallery is a business, and it does have to, think about how it's going to maintain itself, obviously, through the pandemic. And then so during the pandemic, we did not have our event revenue coming in because there was no in-person gatherings, but we increased our online presence. We didn't lose any of our art sales. It kind of remained steady through that whole time, as people were really interested in just looking at something positive in their space, and having those deliveries, to the door is really convenient for them. We were able to ship across country as well, and that wasn't a challenge to do that. But yeah, it was a tough time, I think, for everyone, and we're glad it's over.
Yeah, that's true. Right. I do have questions about your curating process and how you work with artists, but I want to leave it aside for a minute, because I have a specific question. So you mentioned that you are leading with your clients in mind, and it sounds like you already have like a set of clients that just constantly work with you, or is it something like you generate the new clients who discover the gallery and come in and they kind of fall into the same category? How's this working? How do they dictate? How do you learn about who they are? How do you find the right clients for your gallery?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So we have that curation that we are looking to support those specific clients. And then we will attract clients of the similar, aesthetic and similar values. So when they are looking for something for our curation style, it's a lot of uplifting, strong narratives paired with strong aesthetics. So usually I'd like a real story to come with the art, because that provides me with, in sort of the dry terms, like a marketing pitch to be able to sell the work. But also it's this great story about this talented human being that has this really creative, interesting way of looking at the world. And that's really the whole point, is to connect these people that are making something so beautiful and so exciting that it needs to be shared with the world. And to be able to convey that, between, we're almost like translators. We're taking the words of the gallery, or the artist, through the gallery to the clients, and then being able to share that. So when I have talks with artists, I do a consultation with a limited number of artists that I can mentor. And when I advise these artists, I say, you need a compelling story for me to be able to market your work, because I want to share that with the clients. I want them to know this about your work. I don't want them to just say, oh, it's pretty, that's cool. Sometimes they need another reason to collect it, and it's that connection with another person, and to be able to have that whole package of, really aesthetically pleasing, having the story, and then having that connection to somebody, even though it's through, a third party.
Well, that kind of opens up another question, which there's a constant battle between galleries who represent the artists and artists questioning what the gallery does for them. There's a lot of this narrative, especially kind of surfaced during the pandemic when the brick and mortar wasn't available. Like the shows were pretty much moved online. Social media is on the rise, and I know I constantly hear, like when you scroll through the reels, like there's the same narrative, like you don't need this. You can just do it all on social media. You don't need a representation with a gallery. So I want to hear your response to that, because like listening to you, I understand how much you're doing, because coming from the marketing background, like this is a full-time job. Trying to market something and sell something that is not a guarantee, maintaining a whole building, and doing all the other things in parallel to keep this overhead so you can still afford to represent the artists.
So I guess what was the main question? And let
The,
me
the question
there's
is
a lot there.
your response to the argument that artists can't do without galleries now.
My response, so why need me, is kind of the question. Yeah, so it's all about the connections that the gallery has with their clients. So they've built these connections, knowing exactly what these clients are looking for. So it's a fast track to a lot of, um, the clients, the collectors. And when the gallery is not selling an artist's work, or they're not doing well, then they get very discouraged, because that gallery is maybe not quite in tune necessarily with the clients, or they just have a different business model where they're supporting the arts by showing but not selling. Or there's artists that are really just hitting the mark way more effectively than that particular artist. So my advice to artists is that they should be asking questions. They should say, I was shown in the space. Why didn't it sell? Which pieces in that show were selling? What's a better fit of my work for your audience as a gallery curator, owner, whoever they're talking to, the person in the charge of that show, and say, I'd like to know a little bit more about what you're doing so that I can provide a better fit. So galleries are essential, I think, still for artists in a lot of ways. You can make a living on your own. You can do things by yourself. That's absolutely possible. You can start your own gallery. You can have your own revenue streams. You can do all of that. But if you want to be creating at home, if you want to be spending a lot of your time just working, and you want someone else to be doing the sales for you, then you're still going to want somebody doing that, whether it's a artist, a consultant, or a gallery, or some kind of space, or even your online platform selling for you. Because you can't be an expert at everything. It's the same for me. I have payroll. I'm not an expert. I don't do my own payroll. I have a company that does payroll for me. It's just, as an artist, you're a small business. You're like a little business owner of your own business. And as you grow, you become bigger and bigger. And then you can't do it all by yourself. You can't handle press. You can't handle, creation of the work and everything. So it's too much for one human to do, and that's where galleries are still an important part of it. They also will establish that credential for the artist, so they immediately elevate the artist to a higher standard and a higher, platform and reputability for the artist. So um, if there's a gallery out there that's selling the work, then they have a place where they can say, I am here in this actual retail establishment, and I'm not just selling out of my house or my garage. So there, it depends on, the strategy of the artist, what their marketing strategy is for themselves. How are they going to go about selling them? Do they want to be elevated? Is that what their art is trying to say? Or are they a little bit more, raw and edgy? And then individually, maybe that makes more sense.
Well, thank you for that answer. That actually explains a lot, and I do agree because I do know that being an artist and then switching your brain back and forth to doing marketing and taking care of business and all of that is just it's daunting. It's a lot of work, and then at the end of the day, maybe 10% is allocated for actual creation, and that's not what we want as artists. So.
Absolutely.
Well, now I have a question for you as a business owner. You said that you have a major in business, international business. Why did you decide to open the gallery? I mean, from the business perspective, especially in San Diego, it's not the most lucrative business. You could have done probably something different.
Mhm.
Why art
Yeah,
gallery?
everybody who gets into the arts is usually not getting into it specifically to become very affluent off the bat. It's definitely a long haul process. It's really a passion of mine to be working in the arts, and I did work in international business and online marketing for almost a decade, right out of college. And then I was in kind of a position where I was working in one space looking at a wall that was not a window. And I just didn't want that to be my life. I wanted to be out in the world. I wanted to see creative things. Every time I would travel, I traveled a lot. I was, very fond of, international everything. At the time, I would be everywhere, and I would be doing European trips. I took trips in Hong Kong, and I would go see galleries all in those areas. And it's what kind of was the thing that inspired me throughout my time. And then it's like, okay, now I got to go to work, and I've got to be creative at work in a way with online marketing. But I just didn't think it was right for me. I felt very kind of stagnated after a while, and I just wanted something else for myself. And I did study art. I minored in art and with my business degree at the University of San Diego. And it was really my balance. It was my support through everything. And I challenged myself through business because I was unfamiliar with it, but somehow art kind of just came innately to me. I specialized in photography. So that was my preferred medium was black and white photography, and I did some color as well. But then I sort of just decided I wanted to merge the two more formally and then start my own business. But I didn't really realize that until I tell people the story of when I sat down with my mom at lunch one day. I was thinking like, what do I do? What's my future? And I don't know. And she said, well, if you could do anything in the world, what would it be? And I said, I don't know. I don't like start an art gallery. And it just kind of came through my mouth, out of my, my soul, I guess. And she said, well, um, why not? And so that was kind of my moment where it clicked for me. And I said, yeah, why not? Why don't I just do this? Why don't I think about this a little bit more formally? Why don't I ask my professors and see what they think? And there was this gap, between the university and the real world. And how do you get into a museum? How do you get into a gallery? So I thought, why don't I just make my own gallery? I had a lot of high hopes and dreams for myself at that time, and I had the energy to carry them out nowadays, with family and business. It's like I wouldn't do it all over again at this point in my life. But as a young person, I definitely thought, I have the energy for this. I have the passion for this. I have the background for this. Let's go for it. Though, I'm
Well,
a kind of driven kind of personality, so that's
and
what.
honestly, you're one hell of a lucky girl to have a mom who support this kind of idea
Mhm. Yeah,
because
so she gave me this permission essentially to fulfill my dream. So I'm very grateful that I have that relationship with her, and that it we just have this great dynamic where I can sort of release, my inner thoughts through working, through
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff.
Yay, mom. Usually it's a totally opposite story. Like my own mom, she's a creative person. She's doing jewelry design, uh, but she never took it as a career until she retired. So she never encouraged, like knowing that I am a creative person, she never encouraged me to pursue that as a career because it's just never believed that this can be a viable career for the rest of your life. So anyway, this is why we are where we are. So for
Yeah,
all the moms out there who
it's
are
in
raising a
your
new generation,
it's in your heart, and when you realize that, then there's no going back. You feel like you have to do it, and it
yeah,
doesn't
there's no
mean
escape.
you don't have to do it alone though. That's the challenge, is that there are people who are passionate, gallery owners, people who start galleries, as you were saying, they don't it's not started, as like, let's make a bunch of money off these people. It's because you have to, because you want to, and you want to share it, everything, and galleries, even if they're not successful, they stick it out as long as possible, because it's really like, let's fight and get this, as far as we can. So I've been lucky. I've been able to keep up with all of, like, the marketing and business. I spend a lot of my time doing that research, and I have business mentors. So I'm really invested in it, for the long haul, but it's up to the collectors also what they want. So it's always being shaped by them.
Oh, nice. Let's talk now about how you work with your artists.
Yes.
So, how do you choose? How do you find the artist? How do you choose the artist? How many artists do you represent at a time? So, just curious.
We've worked with, I think, over 400 artists since the beginning of the gallery. And a lot of that was really at the beginning. I didn't know exactly what the market was most interested in. So we tried a lot of things. We had a lot of themed shows, and we just really were trying to support as many artists locally as possible. So um, those who were uh, collected the most, those that people commented the most on, were the ones that we have maintained throughout the years. And even if it's not quite a fit for our curation, we still have connections with artists where we will get clients come in who say, oh, this isn't really what I'm looking for. But I'll know those artists, and then I can refer them to the artists. And sometimes they'll do commissions through artists when there's not something very exact that they need, like it has to be blue instead of purple or whatever. The artists can typically handle a commission that way. So we do send a lot of business to artists through clients who want something specific. And then we uh, right now we have 5 represented artists that we represent exclusively in Southern California. And they're really great sellers for us. And that's one of the reasons that we brought them on as represented. We do have other artists that are also great sellers, but the represented set are the ones that we promote primarily because of our great relationship and our working relationship that we have with those artists, for various reasons, and for, the needs of the clients. They're the ones that fit best with our clients. So we are not actively looking for new artists, but there are opportunities to work with the gallery still with collaborative exhibits. And we do also rent the gallery. If someone really wanted a exhibition, then we're able to do that as well.
So you have a separate space for the artist to rent out for their own solo exhibition, is that right?
We can rent out, yeah, there's typically it's gonna be one of the levels of the gallery. So it would be either the upper gallery level or the lower gallery level. But we don't do that very often. It's really mostly the ongoing rotation of the work, the ongoing showcasing of the artists that we have on a regular basis.
Can you name 5 artists that you are representing exclusively? Because assuming that if this, you said it's exclusive, so no one can find them anywhere else in Southern California.
In Southern California, that's exactly it. So um, the 5 artists are Alexander Arshansky, Ron Carlson, Duke Windsor, Kathleen Kane Merle, and I'm blanking on the list. Let me see which one I didn't name yet. I'm just gonna pull up my website real quick. And all of this is on our website too. We have a really great website with the resources for all the artwork that we have for sale on our website. So if anyone's curious about the artists that we represent, they can go there. So Alexander Orshansky, Daniel Kettlehut, Duke Windsor, Kathleen Kane Merle, and Ron Carlson. I guess I said 5 originally.
5, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So those are the 5 that we represent. And that's why I can't remember anymore because I already said 5. So we do also have jewelry artists that we show as well, that are local also. And a lot of our art jewelry designers are they're just creating handmade original work. There's usually not a series of work that they're developing. So these are individual pieces, one of a kinds for the most part, as well as the 2-dimensional works and the sculptural works that we have in the space. They're all going to be originals. They're not going to be so much reproduction unless they're photographic mediums, for instance. So yeah, we're taking in artwork that's original. We're selectively working with artists that fit our curation style. And then what else can I say about the artists? We have a rotation of probably about 15 to 20 right now that we're feeling really confident about. We select some of the really great pieces that they come out with, and then we rotate them out throughout the gallery. And then we are also doing solo exhibitions for those 5 represented artists throughout the year.
So another question I would say, where do you see yourself in the future? So you have been in this same space for 11 years. The format of the business had changed several times. I hear that you started as, as your typical group show, whatever. I know that you have some things in the works in terms of the artist membership programs and stuff, which I will ask you about in a minute. But in terms of, the gallery space and working with the artists and like, are you happy where you are right now, or you have something else brewing in mind and you're going to expand or do something else or change the format again, or what's that gonna look like?
I think we're always doing subtle changes based on what we want to accomplish. I would like to just continue to have these events where people gather and they can come and celebrate the arts and have that be a little bit more experiential, and have artist activations throughout these events so that they're able to really just have this immersive, fun time together. And then I also want to engage a little bit more with the artists in that a lot of artists come and ask me, how can I be in your gallery? How do I get into the other galleries? How do I prepare my work? And there's not really a place for that to all come together yet. So I'm developing a program right now where I'm going to be having that as a central location for artists to kind of get together and have in a membership in the future. And I don't really want to go into it too much because I haven't
Okay.
did
No,
anything,
no
but
spoilers.
no spoilers. Maybe we'll have a follow-up episode
Absolutely. After
dedicated
you
to
launch
that.
the program, I'm having you back. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to cover a lot here anyway. So
Okay.
I think it would be helpful to have all the support for the artists that are either coming out of university programs or they've had a different career and they had art, they started art and then they had a career, life, family. Now they want to get back into it. They're not really sure what's happening currently in the art scene. You're doing a great job showing all the artists what's out there right now, all the events that's going on, all the calls, and that's really amazing. And we'd like to really support you and continue that because this is really hard to get all that information in one place. But also to support the artists on the gallery side. So coming from my expertise and my experience working with hundreds of clients every year, having over 400 artists come through the gallery, I looked up how many emails I've had just in the past, I think like 9 years, I think was when the email and I searched for artists asking to be in the gallery, and I had 4,000 emails from artists, and I thought, you know what, I really need to to have a conversation with these artists because I really want to support everybody and I want to showcase everybody, but one gallery can't do that. So starting from the ground up, building a gallery space, it was what I could do initially to help. And now I'm looking for ways to further assist that and facilitate that through virtual ways, such as a membership and an online platform, and then providing that guidance as a gallery owner. So that's what I'm looking to do. So immersive events with artistic activations, developing a membership for artists with all of the guidance from the gallery side, and also supporting artists, one-on-one. I like to do that as well. I have a limited schedule because I'm also running the gallery and I'm having my life at home. But I do want to consult artists and really hone in on some of those really specific questions that artists have, like, what do I do next? Where I have this, where do I go from here? So I can do that as well with a limited number, like I said, of artists. And yeah, I'm not planning any expansions right now. I think that internally it's enough to have one space. As you mentioned, it's difficult for retail to sustain more retail locations. So I completely agree. And yeah, I think that's kind of our short-term horizon. And then I always have new ideas, of course. So maybe
Yeah.
there'll be something if we check in like a year or two, I'll say I have this whole new great idea that I want to do, but we'll see.
Well, it does sound like you are, venturing toward helping the community now
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
with
initially
all
what.
the experiences over the last 11 years that you have, and the connections and understanding of how this business works and what the challenges are specifically in San Diego market. So there was a word that kind of caught my attention that you mentioned a couple of times. It's the artist activation.
Yes.
For those who are like me, have no idea what that what that looks like. Can you explain it a little bit?
Yeah, that's more of an events term for having so let me give an example. Um, at one of our art parties, we had some body painting. So an artist was live painting on a model on their body in the theme of the party that we were doing. We've also had artists just paint on a canvas and then involve the guests in painting with them. So it's the activation of the event through the practice of art as more of an entertainment. Um, I don't know what you call it, like an entertainment style or feature.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I understand more of a interactive kind of well, that sounds really cool. So, how often do you normally do this kind of events with the activation?
We do once a year in the fall, we have a Sparks Gallery art party. This fall, we are doing a black and white theme for our party. And it's going to just kind of be that theme throughout. So we are partnered with the San Diego Wine and Culinary Center for a
Mm-hmm.
beverage. And they will create something really exciting based on that theme. And then we also create this sort of immersive experience with activations through the artists doing their live performances. Sometimes we have dance and music, and we had a harpist who was a local musician, a local music artist. At our last 1920s was our last theme that we did, and prior to that, we had a Alice in Wonderland theme, and then we had a couple of artist-related themes like Degas themed, where we had ballet dancers come and dance, and it was a seated dinner, and they danced in between courses of the meal. And the Alice in Wonderland, of course, was very themed towards all of that, and we had the live body painting, and there's been a lot of parties like that where I wish they could just keep going. There was not just one night where they were just happening. And I'm always so excited to plan those because I get to infuse this event with all of the great things that I've been finding throughout the year that are themed to that specific theme, and then support artists who are doing more of that immersive type of work, or sometimes installation based work. Then I can bring them in and say, I know you, as your other revenue stream, you do body painting, or as your other revenue stream, you have these installations where people can look inside them, and there's mirrors and all of that. So I have a lot of these recaps posted on our website too, so people can go and read about them. But I kind of cling to them a little bit, and I love them so much. But there's so much work, and we love to work on this throughout the year. And my team's always like, "Oh yeah, we just found this thing, and let's add it to the mix."
Yeah, it does sound like it's a lot of work, but it's also really exciting. We'll make sure to put everything in the show notes. And for everybody out there, I know I have been lagging with the show notes, but we're doing a little bit of restructuring. So the podcast is going to have the show notes for the podcast are going to have a new home. So at this point, if you're listening, you go to San Diego Artist Network.com, and then you click on the podcast, and there will be all the show notes. There will be links to all the guests, and there will be a link to Sparks Gallery, and mention of all the represented artists, and the recaps of the previous events. And stay tuned. I have one last question that I'm really like, I was kind of saving it for last. So you minored in art. You obviously have your heart in it. You created this amazing business, which is also a creative outlet for yourself. Are you still doing your photography? Are you still showing? Are you activating yourself?
I would love to be doing more photography. I am not traveling these days really anymore. And the gallery is my big project right now. It has been for the past, I think, 10 years at this point. Uh, People ask me that a lot, and I just, every moment that I have that's free is how do I create this, beautiful new thing, this new party, this new graphic, or so I'm very fulfilled with my creative side, um, and developing the exhibitions, curating the exhibitions with my gallery manager, and then occasionally jurying and things like that. It's all already fulfilling enough to me. It's almost too much. I'm overfilled. But I would love to do it again. I would love to get back into it, maybe revisit some of the work that I'd done in the past, and reframe it in a sort of a context, like a true portfolio, because I did a lot of, like I said, travel photography, and then it just kind of lives there on a hard drive or something, and it doesn't really get formally put together because I didn't have that time. But I the time that I did have in the last few years to work in photography was not necessarily to take it, but to scan and capture photographs for my family from my grandmother's collection of negatives that she had not scanned. And there was really some beautiful pieces in there. And I kind of got sidetracked with that. And then my uncle passed away, and we used a lot of those photos of him when he was young. So it always seemed to be something kind of coming up and getting my attention, instead of me focusing on my personal work. But yeah, I feel, right now when I have young kids, it's really like my life at home is full also. So I think
Got
someday
it.
I'll probably get back into it, but right now to just kind of remember what I worked on in the past, and just continue to have that passion for my everyday.
Well, I sure hope we will see your work again.
Thank you.
Right. We're almost at the top of the hour. So usually at this point, I ask my guests if there's something that you wanted to bring up and I didn't ask you.
I can't think of anything right now. We covered quite a bit. You were very thorough in asking me all the questions.
Well, in that case, it's also a good spot for plugging whatever you need to plug.
Yeah, I mean, what I would love for all the listeners who are art appreciators, who are collectors, um, please visit all of the events that you have posted on your website here. And I'm sure you're having all these links in your show notes, but really the support is from you, the clients who come every day and love to connect with the artists, who love to hear the stories of the artists, whether it's through them directly, the artists, or through a third party, a gallery, curator or a person at the gallery. And you all are what keeps us going in addition to this craft that we're all creating as artists. It's that and I'm a artist and a collector, so I understand both sides. And it's an amazing passion to have. I think it's this great part of your life that it's another part of you is activated. It's not just you live and then you do your thing and then that's it. It's you can connect with other people, and I find that so amazing and so powerful. And to understand what the artists are doing is this great, you know, this great passion that you can have, seeing the light and the shadows of a black and white photography, seeing the brushwork, the expressive brushwork in a painting, and sensing that and going, wow, this is almost like a dance, and I really needed that. And sometimes you even heal from that when you look at a piece of artwork. You have this rush of serotonin, and it's just an amazing thing. And so yeah, if there's clients out there that are listening from my end, I appreciate you, all of you. It's been such a great journey with all of you, and I hope for many years more, and artists also who are listening. um, it's also all about you. It's about everybody. So we're all in it together, and it's amazing to share your story. It's amazing to hear your voices, and yeah, I love it.
Oh, it's beautifully said. Thank you. So, spell out how can people find you? Yes, we will have all the links in the show notes, but just just for people who are listening on the go and just typing it right there on their phones or whatever, just spell it out. How to find your gallery, how to, I don't know, sign up for newsletters, where to find you on social media.
Yeah, so sparksgallery.com, it's all one word, is our website. And then Sparks Gallery is all of our social handles. So Facebook, Instagram, and the newsletter. If you want to join the newsletter, if you scroll down to the very bottom of our website, there's a little field at the bottom that says join our newsletter. Or you can email me directly and say, I'd like to join the artist newsletter, or I'd like to join the regular gallery newsletter. And you can email me, Sonya, Sonya, at sparksgallery.com. And yeah, I think that's about it for the main stuff. And through our newsletter, you'll hear a lot of stories from me, where I'll talk about kind of my monthly journal wrap up of the month, what I've been up to personally as the owner of the business, and then the announcements for our receptions and events such as our art party and things like that.
Perfect. So everybody just tap it right now, scroll down, sign up, and stay tuned for all the cool things that are coming up at Sonya's gallery. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been amazing to talk to you. And yes, we will get back to this conversation later when you have the membership finally, finalized and launched and whatever. We'll do a launch episode for that. And for whatever your ideas, we'll stay in touch. And thank you for being in the art scene.
Yes, thank you for all that you do as well. I appreciate you.